From the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, the Slam Dunk Championship. Cedric Ceballos last year with the blindfold dunk.
I'm not giving him a score on that. Like
you know, it'll be interesting to see what dunk he picks, but judges are notoriously tough on the guys when they're first dunk. So I would come out with something relatively easy and then save my two better dunks.
And the miss. Now you get scored even on misses. It does not have to go through the hoop to draw a score. Theoretically, you could get a 50 by missing, but of course that wouldn't happen, but theoretically you can. So that was dunk number one.
Now the difference is last year you get a replacement dunk for a miss. You do not get one this year, so that should be a miss.
Absolutely.
And he'll get 2 more dunks, but he does not get a chance to replace that one.
Cedric Ceballos is now being informed of the change in the rules.
Yeah,
so he did not hit his first one, but he will get a score of some sort from the judges.
You can see it looks like he kind of slips underneath on his elevation right before he took off. It looked like he did not get a good slant of that foot. And the old story like last year, the game of 22 here, is saying last year there were so many guys who were two-foot jumpers. They would come to the stop and get up, whereas in past years the greatest slam dunk guys have been guys who would take off on the one foot and cover a lot of ground.
Exactly. The crowd coming to their feet here for David Benoit. Crowd loved it. Charles, Isaiah, what'd you think of that one?
As you can see, he goes up here and he gives it a simple reverse. I want to see how Julius and the rest of the guys score.
The judges have awarded David Benoit a score of 41.5. And Kenny Smith, who competed in the three-point shootout, the first player ever to compete in 2 events here. Charles Barkley could do that if we could get him to do it. He could go into the three-point and the slam dunk. Oh, Kenny Smith surprised us a couple of years ago, and he may be on that track again.
I'll tell you, the players loved it. The players were lined up over there.
Remember, the judges are tough early.
And a 46.5 the score for Kenny Smith. Remember Spud Webb in '86 at 5'7", defeated Dominique Wilkins.
I tell you, the first thing that stands out to me about Chris Jackson, this is the first time I've seen him this year, how thin he is. I mean, he has lost a ton of weight.
The bounce and the two-handed jam from Chris Jackson, not pleased with the effort himself.
Again, the bounce dunk and the timing. Chris Jackson with the two-hand dunk. I think, again, the important thing is to make that first dunk.
Right here are the standings in the first round, first dunk. Smith with the best score so far at 46.5, followed by Benoit Jackson and Cedric Ceballos, who actually missed his dunk. Harold Miner, the rookie from Miami. That's the most exciting dunk we've seen in 2 years.
That's right. He brought that one from his toes.
All right, let's listen to this now. Let's just watch and listen to Harold Miner.
Well, watch how far he brings it down.
Charles Barkley, Isaiah Thomas, what about some comments?
Well, as you can see how high he jumps. He clutches, he gives a little Michael Jordan between his legs, hangs on the rim. You can't do that.
And a 49 for Harold Miner. That's the highest score in 2 years and well deserved.
Bob, you know it's a great dunk when you see that line of all-stars sitting on the bench beside Isaiah and Charles. You got Scottie Pippen and the rest of the all-stars. When they get up off their feet, you know you've had an exciting dunk.
Tim Perry had 124 dunks all total last year in the NBA. There's Tim Perry's dunk following Harold Miner. Isaiah?
It's a very difficult dunk what he just did, but he didn't put enough style in it.
At 38.5. And now here's Weatherspoon, our dunker.
Come on now. Not bad. Not bad. Now, he got a few 10s over there from the players.
The Shaq gave him a 10.
He brought that one.
All right, let's listen to it.
That was a great dunk. I think the people just don't know who Clarence Weatherspoon is, but watch this.
Oh,
I mean, that's a serious dunk with power.
And a 43-2 is the score for Clarence Weatherspoon. Harold Miner leads with 49 points, Smith with 46.5, and Weatherspoon with 43.2. This first round involves 3 dunks, and the top 2 scores are added. Thunder Dan Marley looking on as his teammates competes in the slam dunk competition. Well, didn't get much of a rise out of the crowd.
It's not enough style into it. It's a very difficult dunk to do, but he's not putting enough style into his dunks, and the players got to realize right now that that's what the judges are really looking for.
David Benoit from the Utah Jazz, a crowd favorite. That's big. Two-handed windmill. Wonder what the mailman thought of that. Remember, Connie Hawkins and Julius Erving are 2 of the 5 judges.
Yeah. See, you know what? You really don't appreciate these dunks until you see them in slow motion. I mean, you can't see the guy hits the ball on his feet. He takes it up. He spins. He hangs on the rim. You can't see that. It's so fast.
A modest 44.3. Top 3 will advance. Kenny Smith right now in second place. It's Miner, Smith, and Weatherspoon after the first round.
Now, he's got this one. He bounces between his legs off the backboard. This one's going to go over his head.
He had to grab the rim in order to stay up long enough to grab the errant ball. I'll tell you, it was a mistake, but it was pretty spectacular.
He's got to give a little bit more enthusiasm and be a little bit more enthused about what he's doing out there in order to convince the judges. You got to sell. You got to be able to sell the judges.
A 38.5 on that dunk to go with his 46.5. Now remember, 3 dunks in the first round, and the lowest scored dunk will be tossed out. Next up, little, by NBA standards, Chris Jackson. And the miss. Of course, that'll cost him, but he'll still draw some points from the 5 judges. And he got a very low score on that, 26. So Chris Jackson in trouble in terms of advancing from this 7 to the final 3. Sean Kemp, a late scratch. He'd have been one of the favorites, certainly, in this competition. He injured his thumb. Harold Miner, he electrified the crowd, got a 49. The guard from Miami. Let's watch him. Big power on that, Charles Barkley. What do you think?
Well, it was a very hard dunk, but it showed tremendous power. That's a very powerful young man right there.
And he hangs on the rim, gives it a little style. And he's figured out what the judges want. The judges want style, and the fans have fell in love with him right now. And look at it. Oh, my God.
That angle really shows.
Look at that.
A 45-8 and a good score on that dunk. So a 49 and a 45-8 will keep Harold Miner in the lead here. Harold Miner remains in the lead. Tim Perry, who had an unenthusiastic dunk his first time out, is next up. But wait a minute, he's going to start way back on the runway.
Well, when you do this in front of Julius Erving and you're going to do the runway, he started this, so you better do a good one.
At an ABA All-Star game, as a matter of fact, we saw that.
Yeah, but he used to do it in the regular season 3 times a night.
Not bad, but I doubt that it will impress the doctor. 22 will be the score for Tim Perry. And next up will be Clarence Weatherspoon. Big lob. Oh! Okay, Charles Barkley, what do you think?
I tell you what, that dunk is going to look even better in slow motion because he almost hit the rim. I mean, he can get up. I mean, it's going to look better in slow motion.
Here it is in slow-mo, Charles.
boy. It ain't no middle way. Oh.
Okay, let's look at it again, and this time we're going to listen to it. And a modest score of 44.3. Gentlemen, do you think that's too low a score, Isaiah?
Well, again, the bounce is hurting the guys. The judges are tired of seeing that. It was a spectacular dunk, but he needed a little bit more style. If he would have hung on the rim and did a little bit more other things with it, you got to be able to sell the judges. And right now, these guys aren't selling the judges. That's when Jordan did, or when Dominique did. They would make their dunks so spectacular, even before they dunked, you anticipated what they were getting ready to do. And right now, they're just walking up there dunking. And you got to be able to sell these guys.
Yeah,
right now, they're not selling.
Reminiscent of D. Brown a couple of years ago when he won, also selling his dunk. Harold Miner way out in front. The top three will advance after the first round. Coming up from the Delta Center, the final dunk in the first round. Charles Barkley, what do you think about your teammate here?
Well, the pressure's on him.
Well, he got them both.
Again, it's a very difficult dunk, and not many players in the NBA can do this. But the judges have seen it before. Doc has seen it before. Connie Hawkins invented it probably. And you got to be able to sell it.
David Benoit. Well, he went for it on that one. Benoit had a 41.5 and a 44.3, so he's right on the cusp.
See, but Ceballos moved ahead of Benoit, so Benoit slips down to fourth, Ceballos up to third. So this is a big miss for him. This takes him out of the finals at this point.
Kenny Smith. And Smith misses. Here's the Skycam angle.
I know I had it right there.
Kenny Smith with a 26.5 on his third dunk and a total of 85 in the first round. Chris Jackson with a 38 and a 26. Not much hope for it. Impressive, but once again the bounce to help with the elevation and the reverse two-handed jam.
We see Chris Jackson here, and this is a great dunk.
42.8 for a total of 80. That'll eliminate Chris Jackson from advancing. 3 advance to the championship round. A change in the rules this year. They start with 7 and 3 advance to the finals. And now Harold Miner, who had a 49 on his first dunk and a 45.8 on the second one. The crowd loved him. Let's see what he comes up with. Number 3. Remember, the best 2 of these 3 scores are totaled for the total. Maybe the weakest of his 3s. They've been spectacular. The first one was unbelievable. The second one a power dunk. Isaiah, what do you think?
The right idea in mind. He's trying to get the crowd into it. I don't know if the judge is going to buy the bounce, but if you can run it all the way back before he even went to dunk, he walked over and he shook Connie Hawkins' hand and gave him 5. So he's trying to get the judges on his side.
He must have heard you.
Does that count as style or creativity?
A little bit of both.
The left-handed jam from Harold Miner. And he had a 45.8. That's exactly the same. So his total will be 94.8. And that keeps Harold Miner at number 1. The top 3 advance. Miner, Weatherspoon, Ceballos at this point.
I think he's a little nervous. He looks like he's a little nervous, and he's trying to hold it in. And in doing so, he's being very stoic.
And not happy with that attempt, Tim Perry. And now, with this Tim Perry dunk that hit the edge of the rim, Miner, Weatherspoon, and Ceballos are going to advance to the finals as of right now. Weatherspoon will have this third dunk, but won't even need it in order to advance. Charles, Isaiah, maybe these guys each need to bring a coach with them.
Well, in the past, the guys who have won the slam dunk, Julius and Michael Jordan, Dominique, those guys, they did come into the slam dunk competition with a plan.
Yeah,
they did not just go out there and randomly dunk. They had their dunk systematically planned, and therefore they didn't have as much confusion when they went to attempt their next dunk. They knew exactly what they were going to do.
So here's Weatherspoon's final dunk here, but remember, he's already guaranteed of advancing along with Miner and Ceballos into the championship round. Cedric Ceballos will dunk first in the final round, the defending champion. Ceballos misses on his first attempt.
That's exactly what happened the first time, too. He put himself in a hole. Now he's got to nail the last two. Looks like he just doesn't get the lift. He gets up there timing off a little bit, brings it down, and just doesn't get enough lift to finish it.
Here is Clarence Weatherspoon.
Now that's coming from out of bounds. All right, sending it home. I like that one. Came from behind the board.
We'll listen to the sounds of this one. Clarence Weatherspoon. Charles Barkley, your comments.
This guy's got great jumping ability, has some serious power in his dunk. That's a pretty rare thing to have, power and jumping ability. That's a great dunk.
And a pretty good score. The judges are being tough. A 44-7. Weatherspoon says, what do I have to do?
You have to reach into your bag. That's what you have to do tonight.
Dr. J made it very clear that they had to see creativity, innovation, and talent. Here is Harold Miner. He's the man who's gotten the biggest rise out of this crowd thus far.
But you know, Yubi made a point a while ago. None of these guys are 1-foot jumpers. They're all 2-foot jumpers, so they don't take up a lot of space. They don't take off and finish, reach out from a distance and do a lot of things. Everything is power off 2 feet, so it's very difficult to be real creative when you jump off 2 feet.
Harold Miner, his first dunk of the night was a score of 49 out of a possible 50.
You're shorting in the area.
Harold Miner, the rookie guard from the Miami Heat.
See, he's got some big hands. He can do some stuff in the air with that ball. He can really wave that thing around. That was what Michael could do. He could wave that ball, he and Julius.
Who changes money?
Yeah.
That's good.
Now, that's the same one he did in the first round, wasn't it? Isn't it the exact same one?
Yes. Dr. J has a long memory. They're going to give him a 47, which is the second highest score to the night, second only to his 49 the first time he tried that. So Harold Miner continues in the dunker's seat here. 47, 44, 47. Remember, 3 dunks here. The top 2 scores count for the championship. Defending champion.
There you go. It's a 1-foot takeoff, and he carried a little distance. Was able to do some stuff in the air with it.
Good point, Doug. At the peak of your career, injuries aside, I think you could have done this.
I could dunk a donut and coffee if you like it.
Zeke, what do you think?
I think he'll score well on this dunk because, first of all, he goes after it. He's excited about it. At the finish, he gives a little bit of extra to it, and he's enthused about his dunk, and I think the judges will reward him for that.
That's a good dunk. That's an excellent dunk.
Not a great score, 42.3. And Ceballos not happy with that score. And his first one, remember, he missed. So that'll be thrown out. So now Ceballos is going to have to count on a very high score for his third dunk in order to advance. And here comes the power dunker, Clarence Weatherspoon. That's the longest bounce off a missed dunk in history. That bounced all the way out to half court, but did not go down. What do you think of this, Charles?
Well, he got up under there a little bit too far. But I tell you, his head's up at that rim. He just glided in a little bit too far.
And a 27.5. Almost, but no cigar for Clarence Weatherspoon. Remember, the low score can be thrown out.
He can really be creative here and still have 1 to go. So he is right now in the driver's seat to win this.
Oh, very big left-handed windmill jam from Miner. Isaiah Thomas.
Unbelievable. I mean, spectacular. Fans love him. He goes in, he gives the windmill, one hand, good dunk. And watch him at the end. See how he gives the style. Watch how he plays to the judges, and he's a bad boy. Ooh. He's just a bad boy.
I tell you what, this young fella is awesome.
A 48 for Harold Miner. And that's probably right. The fat lady has sung. You can just about wrap this up and take it on home. Engrave his name on the trophy. Harold Miner with a cumulative 95.
Well, a 50 would give Weatherspoon 94.7, and a 50 would give Ceballos 92.3. So these guys now are battling for second and third.
Exactly right. There's the winner, Harold Miner. Ceballos and Weatherspoon dunking for second place. It's a difference between $10,000 and $5,500 and $7,500. Not going to get much out of that for Cedric Ceballos, last year's winner. Charles Barkley, you were right. He should have brought out the blindfold.
See, I don't think you can use that, though, this year, Charles. I don't think they're allowed in props, right? So is a blindfold a prop?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if there's anything he could have done. Harold Miner deserves to be the slam dunk champion this year.
37.5 on the Ceballos dunk, and now Weatherspoon for his final. These guys are dunking for second place. Good power dunk from Clarence Weatherspoon. And that was a mad dunk. We might call that an angry dunk from Clarence. Now, Harold Miner doesn't even need this dunk. He's already wrapped it up. So this is just going to be an exhibition dunk from Harold Miner, who's already won the championship. Last year, when Ceballos had already clinched it, he went to the blindfold.